Enock Glidden has spent his life asking one question: how can I? With the help of a supportive community, he's always been able to find the answer.
Now he's working to help more Mainers find an answer as well.
There are few places in the world where Enock Glidden is more comfortable than outside.
The outdoors has been a place to relax and be at peace and maybe push myself and not be relaxed once in a while. But
Born with spina bifida, he has never been able to use his legs.
I like to say that I probably had it easier because this is all I know.
Growing up in the rural town of Patton, Enock spent his youth exploring the woods
I was the only kid in a wheelchair, so everybody knew me.
and pushing the limits.
There's a story about when I decided to just take off into the woods by myself one day and see how far I could get. I got stuck, so I got out of my wheelchair and crawled and just pulled my wheelchair until I could start pushing again.
He was about 7 years old at the time. That's just how he's always done things, with a smile on his face and an optimism that everything will work out.
I've always pushed my wheelchair past the point of where it should go.
Bob Dyer, junior high school gym teacher, saw that tenacious spirit and urged Enock to do even more.
First day I met him, he walked up to me and asked me if I could do 20 push-ups in my wheelchair. And of course, I said I can do 40. And I don't think I'd ever done 40 push-ups ever, but I did it. And after that, he didn't treat me differently. He treated me like everybody else.
Dyer encouraged Enock to join a basketball team, took him hunting, and got him into wheelchair racing.
He really set me on a path of not saying I can't, but asking how can I, and answering that question. And I don't think I've ever found a moment when I couldn't answer that question.
Enock's been doing things his own way ever since.
I'm from Patton, and there's this huge hill coming into town. It's about maybe a mile long. It would take me 16 minutes to get up the hill, but on the way back it was about a minute and a half down. So one day I would sit at the top, look both ways to make sure nothing was coming, and then go. And I passed 7 cars. I was doing 57 miles an hour.
He's been chasing that adrenaline rush ever since by taking flying lessons, paragliding, hand gliding, and skydiving. He rock climbs and ice climbs. In 2016, after one failed attempt, this guy from Patton spent 6 days, 5 nights on the granite face of El Capitan in Yosemite National Park.
And I just do pull-ups over and over and over on that rope.
After more than 800 pull-ups a day, Enock successfully pulled himself 3,000 feet up the sheer granite rock face.
People see me climb, they realize that there's no such thing as impossible.
It's taken a community of people to help him reach his goals, including Paradox Sports, which offers adaptive climbing opportunities all over the country. He serves as an ambassador for the company. The goal is to share a love of nature with people regardless of ability. That's why Enock's been working with Maine Trail Finder, a website with over 5 million users that lists more than 1,000 trails.
So I look for obstacles basically, and if there's hills, how steep they are.
Assessing trails like this one in Scarborough.
We had been hearing for a number of years about how there wasn't a very good compendium of accessible trails in Maine.
The trails are reviewed in detail, so there's no surprises for hikers. Ratings scale from wheelie easy to wheelie strenuous.
He knows what people who are using a wheelchair are looking for and what type of information they're looking for.
I've flipped over a few times, but that's why I do it, to push myself to the absolute limit so that people know exactly what they're getting into when they do a trail.
Enock's already rated over 3 dozen trails. The assessments aren't just for those in wheelchairs, but for seniors and people of varying abilities.
He is obviously an extreme adventurer with having summited El Cap in Yosemite, but he also is very good at saying a quarter-mile trail and seeing the beauty in that. And I think that is almost what I find most inspiring about Enock, is his love for the outdoors and sharing that with many other people.
On his website, it reads, "The scenery is better when you are a part of it." Enock is hoping his reviews will inspire others to take part of the outdoors.
I think if people push themselves more toward that edge, they'd have a lot more confidence of what they can and can't do, and they'd realize that they probably can do everything.
207's Beth McAvoy with that powerful story. Wow. All I can say is live like Enock.
Amen.
Most of the trails that Enock has assessed for Maine Trail Finder have been in southern and western Maine. For the rest of this year, he's working on trails from Fort Kent down to Bangor.
On top of Enock's work for Maine Trail Finders and Paradox Sports, he also travels doing public speaking. Among other things, he talks about climbing El Capitan. In fact, a short film was made about that experience. Some of that film you saw in Beth's story.